Hey all you cool cats and kittens. Today we're going to be talking about why to choose whole wheat and what's the difference between whole grain, whole wheat, and refined grains. And I'm going to go through why you should choose them, how to choose them from the supermarket, what to look for, and all that good stuff. So we're really going to get down and dirty with it. So let's first start with the terms. A lot of people ask, what's the difference between whole wheat and whole grain? Which one is better for you? What should I buy? And I just want to put this in kind of terms that are easy to understand. Grains are a whole umbrella, okay? It's the umbrella. And under it, there's different types of grains. And wheat is just one under that beautiful, huge umbrella, okay? So it doesn't really matter if you're choosing grains or wheat because wheat is a type of grain, right? So that makes sense. And if they're both whole, that means they all have the three parts of the grain. So for you to really understand the grain and what refined grains mean, we're gonna go over the parts of the grain that I was talking about. So I'm gonna put up a picture right here, and this picture is gonna show the three different parts. And we're gonna start first with the outer layer. So as you see that beautiful brown area that's coating the whole circle, which is the grain, this is called the bran. And the bran has fiber, it has antioxidants, and it has some of the B vitamins in it. So when this is removed, you're not getting any of that in. Well, you're getting some of the B vitamins in because they're still inside the grain, but you're missing out on the fiber, and you're also missing out on the antioxidant that is naturally occurring in the grain. So the germ is really important because only the germ has the vitamin E in it, but it also has phosphorus, it has some of the B vitamins, which is thiamine and riboflavin, and then it also has some of the good fats that we need. So, and also the protein as well. So this little section has so much in it that is very important. So this section is also removed when a grain is refined. So we're gonna go to what is in a refined grain, which is gonna be just the endosperm, which it has protein in it. It has some vitamins, not so much, but that's basically what you get. Okay, so now that you've seen what a grain looks like and I've explained the different parts of it, a refined grain would only have the endosperm, which is the large section that was just basically the starch, some protein, very little vitamins and minerals. So that is what refined grain is. And the purpose for the process of refining, because obviously the whole grain is so much better. You're getting so much more vitamins, a lot of different minerals. You're getting also fiber, you're getting antioxidants, you're getting a lot of stuff in the whole grain. So what's the purpose of the refined grain? Like, why is that a thing if the whole grain is better? That's a very good and valid question. The purpose of refining the grain is to make a finer texture of it and also to extend the shelf life. So if you felt any type of flour, you see it's very, very soft, right? So that's one purpose of it, but also to extend the shelf life. And that is a very important part of, the food industry, is how long something can stay on the shelf, because every time you throw a food away as a company, you're losing lots of money. So there's always research, there's always new things to find out, how can I keep this longer on the shelf? And as you know, that may not be the best option for us humans. So since removing these really important nutrients from the grain, and since grains are a really big part of our diet, there is a lot of different diseases that kind of outburst, and they're from nutrient deficiencies. Things like anemia, pellagra, beriberi, things that are from specifically from removing those essential nutrients. So then what happened is we had the birth of enriched grains. An enriched grain is basically you take the whole wheat grain, it is refined, so all the most of the nutrients are taken, stripped away, and then more nutrients are added at the end of the processing. So you still have that finer texture and you still have the longer shelf life, and then there's some nutrients that are added back. So it's very important to note here that not all of the nutrients are added back, okay? So that is something to keep in mind, that while some are added, not all of them. So if you're shopping and you really love white bread, try your best to purchase enriched versus just refined. So I'm gonna put a graph here of what, how much the grains are enriched, and it's usually the B vitamins are added back in by dramatic numbers that you end up peeing some of them out. So this is one example. I'm not saying this is in every single grain, but this is kind of the range of how it goes. The red is showing you the refined grain. The green is, you know, the natural state of the grain, the whole grain. This is what it has. And then the yellow is when it's enriched. And whenever you're shopping, you always want to check in the back of the product to see the ingredients section. So in this section, it will tell you from the most to the least in order of the ingredients. And then you want to see the word whole wheat, whole grain. For example, brown rice versus white rice. So things like that. But there's a different way. There's a little stamp to check for it. Maybe you've never used it before, but it's there and it can be a really good tool to use. So I'm gonna show you right now what those stamps are. Okay, so this is the stamp that I was talking about. So as you see, there's 3 different variations of it and they look very much the same. Like if you don't look closely, you would probably think it's the same stamp. So this is basically on every type of grain. And if you look at a cereal box, things like that, you will find it. You probably may have not noticed it before, but trust me, it's there. So let's kind of dissect what these different stamps mean. So the first one, which is gonna be A, is what we're gonna talk about. It says 100% whole grain. So from this, you can tell that 100% of the grains that are in this package, let's talk about cereal, in this cereal box, are whole grain. And they require this stamp minimum of 16 grams, which is 1 full serving of grains. So 16 grams of grain has to be in here, and it has to be 100% the full whole wheat to have this specific stamp. And you want to have about 3 servings a day of whole grains. That's just kind of the recommended amount, but obviously it's up to you. Our diet is so more complex than just, you know, strict recommendations. And then here we have B. So B says, you can kind of guess, it says 50% plus whole grain. So what this means is from all of the grains that are inside this package, our cereal box, it's at least 50% whole grain, okay? And it has to have at a minimum of 8 grams of whole grain, which is half the serving. Remember, 1 serving is 16 grams. This has to have at least 8 grams. So say it has 16 grams in total, or it has 12 grams in total of grains, right? This means that 8 of those grams is gonna be whole wheat. So 50% or more, okay? And then the last one, this one is a bit tricky. So this one just says whole grain. And you may think, okay, this package has, you know, it is tricky. It kind of seems like it has 100% whole grain. You wouldn't really think about it. But in actuality, this is different from the other two, because in this stamp, you have to have at least 8 grams of whole grain, which is half a serving again. What's different here is that it doesn't have to be in any type of percentages. So the majority of the box can be a refined grain, right? But 8 grams is whole wheat. So this is what this is telling you. So if something has 20 grams of grains, this stamp says a minimum of 8 has to be whole grain. So that's not half of the box, right? Because half of it would be 10. Alright, so now that you know what these stamps mean and what the difference between whole grain, refined, and all of that mean, I'm gonna help you to find it on your package. So I have oats right here, okay? So we're gonna see it's not in the front of it, but you kind of just sometimes have to look for it because it's not super obvious. But you see here, you see it? It says 100% whole grain. And then if I check in the ingredients, also whole grain rolled oats. So that's just one example. A lot of products would have the stamp. The stamp has to be, it's not required on every single product. So this is basically the company, the manufacturer have to contact the whole grain council, and they have to send them a bunch of information, and then the council would either approve or deny the process. So this is basically voluntary. It depends if the manufacturer wants it there. But since we know the huge benefits of whole grain and marketing, nutrition marketing is very, very huge if you don't know, a lot of products would have this on it. So some examples of grains are gonna be, like I said here, I got my oats. It could be a wheat, it could be rice, it could be many different things that you probably have not tried. I would say to go ahead and try them all because grains are really healthy for you. Like I said, they're very, very rich in B vitamins. They're also rich in iron. There's gonna be so many different nutrients. I can't even sit here and list them for you all, but maybe I'll put them right here, okay? So each grain is gonna have a slightly different but pretty similar nutrient profile. So I have kind of a comparison between quinoa and brown rice. You see it's quite similar. There's some things that are higher in rice, some things that are higher in quinoa. The whole decision of what kind of grain to buy is completely up to you, just because there is a huge price difference in each thing. As something gets more popular and something gets more demonized, you see the whole range. So if you talk to someone, they're probably gonna be like, oh my god, quinoa, oh, it's so healthy. It is. And for that reason, quinoa is much higher in price than rice. And if you notice in the industry, health industry, you see a lot of people, especially in like weight loss industry, they say like, oh, rice is not good, it's gonna make you fat, blah, blah, blah. So you see the price of rice, and especially since it's such an abundant and, you know, widely used grain, that it's pretty cheap to buy. So again, the type of grain is completely up to you. Just always know to choose whole grain, okay? So an easy way to look at this, if you don't want to read ingredients, you don't want to check packages, an easy way to look at it is everything that you use grain-wise in white, switch it to brown. So your bread, your pasta, anything else that you can think of, except your egg, which I will make a video about that. The brown and white egg do not matter. The color does not matter. But that's beside the point of this video, okay? So another thing that is really, really important that is found in grains that I didn't really mention so much is the fiber. So fiber has so many different benefits, from keeping you feeling full to increasing your absorption opportunities to preventing colon cancer. There's literally so many different benefits of fiber. And that's something that is not added back in the refined grains. So it's really important to always, always, always choose the whole grains. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any other requests for videos or have any questions about grains or anything like that at all, just comment below or just shoot me a message on my Instagram or my Facebook. And I hope you guys like and subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends and family. I'm going to be posting a lot of different things about health and why to choose something versus the other. I don't like to just tell you, choose whole grain and not really explain why. So here you go. All right, have a beautiful day.